Welcome to the AHQ Podcast, where we interview founders of companies that are scaling from 2 to 75 million in EBITDA, as well as active capital partners that are deploying capital into cash flowing assets, as well as M&A service providers and anyone who helps to create enterprise value within organizations, which is why we're sitting down with Michelle. Michelle, we're so excited. So Michelle is a sales and revenue growth specialist, fractional CRO, founder of the Startup Sales Leadership Institute, with nearly 25,000 sales conversations and 2,100 presentations throughout her career. That's a lot of talking, and I'm glad we're able to talk today.
I mean, I heard I only have like 30 minutes. That might be hard.
Well, this will be fun. Additionally, you specialize in helping founders move beyond the founder-led sales and build scalable, predictable revenue organizations, which again is everything everyone out there is wanting. Her work focuses on developing sales teams, leadership, go-to-market strategies, forecasting, and revenue systems that reduce founder dependency, helping business owners create stronger, more transferable companies positioned for sustainable growth, acquisition, and long-term enterprise value. I'm excited.
Yeah, that was Seriously. A really good intro.
Well, we use systems and tools around here,
yes.
as well as we look at your background. And again, your background is extensive. But what I really want to focus in on is creating the scenario today for the company, in essence, that has an operational team that is inefficient within their sales area. Yes. So share with us more of what you are uncovering within companies as you go through your consultation phase. Mm-hmm. Let's walk through that consultative phase, yes. And then as well, share with us what we should be doing.
Yeah. So I think the example I'll give right now, which is really specific and it's easy to latch onto, is a founder calls me and says, I don't want to sell anymore. Like, how do I get out of the sales seat? And it's usually it comes from different angles. One is they're trying to do another series of fundraising. And the further you go down that, those investors are expecting that you're building an independent sales team. And if you are not, you are worth less, you are less desirable, because the founder dependency makes your business worth substantially less. And there is absolutely no one on this planet that is going to disagree with me. And so what happens is founders are like, cool, like I've had great success. Look at me. I have, let's say I'm a $5 million a year ARR service business and I'm doing great. I'm selling, I'm closing 80% of the time, all of these things. And so then they get really confident in their ability to then hand that off to someone because they think that they have proven the sales cycle. They have proven the sales process. They've proven their product. And unfortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth. There is actually no relation between the founder's success to sell and someone else. And the reason why is there's founder magic. So when you start a business and you are scaling a business, you go up to someone, you shake their hand, and you have your story of why you started this business, how you help people. That is infectious. And people are like, oh, just give it to me. Whatever it is, I'm going to go for it, right? Yeah. And so it is a lot easier to sell something as the founder than if you hire your first salesperson that comes in. So during that diagnostic process, when I come in and I ask, I'm like, well, great. I'm really excited for you to exit the sales seat because one is it makes your business worth more. You can fundraise better. But also it gives them back some of that freedom and flexibility because it's one of the most time-consuming functions in any business. And I know for a fact, one day maybe I'll write the book, is CEOs and founders are some of the loneliest people I've ever met in my life. Because they're so successful and capable, people usually go to them to take. Everyone's going taker energy, right? True. And their giver energy. And eventually you just run out of that and you feel really lonely, which is why I love being involved with you, Nathan, is like they need community. They need like-minded people. But typically when I go in and I say, great, let's go ahead and exit the sales seat, I'm like, show me your CRM, for example. And they're like, my Post-its?
Yeah.
Right?
Do they have a CRM? Like, what is the organization within their CRM?
Yeah, and that's usually a very shallow setup. At the most, I'll see that they put in like Go High Level, HubSpot, or something like that. But when I go in, there are no, it's still the standard sales stages, not customized to their business. There's 300 reminders for follow-ups because the founder never did them. And so it's not an operating system. It's just something that they have. So that's an example. You cannot hire a salesperson if they can't be managed through a CRM. Okay, that's just how it goes.
True.
Then I'll be like, great. So communicate to me exactly what you do and how you help people. And they'll usually memorize the line that's above the fold on their website, and that's what they say.
Real quick, is this the individual who is the founder or is the first hire?
Founder.
Okay, got it.
Because in the consultation stage, I'm talking to the founder. They have not hired their first salesperson.
Okay, perfect.
Sometimes they have hired and failed, and they're coming now for help. But typically at this flux point, there's no one selling on their behalf. And so then I'll ask another series of questions like, great, well, what do you have set up for enablement? Like pitch decks, templates for proposals, standardized offers, like all of these things. And it's usually a glaze of everything's custom, whatever the customer wants. And this is specific to service-based businesses that I'm talking about right now, because that's typically who needs a sales team. Is it service or SaaS, right? So I'm talking specifically to service and SaaS. And so anyway, they don't have any of the foundations to teach someone else how to sell. That person has to sell differently than them. And this is the reason why investors or PE firms ask this question, is because they know it's the number one test to know if the product is going to succeed in the marketplace, period. And so it becomes really important.
Well, we'll keep on going down this route. I like it. So hold that thought. Right now, you and I are still standing in the cycle of a consultation.
Correct.
But I just wanted to make a side note here, because you've got companies like private equity firms that are micro. You could do micro or macro, it doesn't matter. They're looking at companies that have efficiencies. That's at the end of the day. Individuals that are running these large companies that are buying companies, or smaller roll-up strategies, or holdco founders that are doing multiple arbitrage, they're looking for efficiencies within companies.
Yes.
And what you are providing, as well as what you're seeing that people aren't doing well, is the ability to create that framework and standard operating procedures. Again, that's what we talked about first, just the other day. You said, well, what are your KPIs, and what is, really your sales cycle? So
yes.
Anyway, enterprise value is what you're doing, and that's where you've got to look at two different sides. You're inside of the business, but now you need to look outside of the business at who is looking at you.
Correct. Yes, 100%.
So
and
let's go right back.
Yeah, and then the efficiencies in the revenue function is make or break. Like, let's just be honest. It's anything that touches money is the most important thing in the business.
Right.
And so, and it's, as a CRO, I'm responsible at looking at the sales team, customer success, and marketing. Are they actually all connected and producing the same level of success and not breaking each other down? So it's really, really important, because if there's any disconnect at any of those three stages, the scalability, that's where it breaks.
Where have you found the disconnect within these organizations that you're working with?
Yes.
Where is the disconnect?
Yeah, so it's part of like the consultations phase as well, is to, okay, show me your marketing. If you're running ads, what do the ads look like? Okay, you're not running ads, what are you doing over here? So this is really important, because what happens is, I want you to picture this. Let's say you decide you're going to do cold emails and book calls. Okay, that's gonna be your strategy and oddly enough, it still works if you do it right. Okay, so you're booking calls and taking them. Now, if the person sending said email is making a promise about an outcome that is actually not true, or inaccurate, or fluffy, or whatever it is, you get that prospect on a call, and that is a wasted amount of money, wasted amount of time, because the team reaching out to book the sales call has completely messed up messaging. So if you say X, Y, and Z, and then we're on a call and they're like, oh, that's not at all what I thought you did. Great. Now you've wasted time and money, and you have a disconnect, right? Another great one is when, those great marketers out there, sometimes they're a little too great, and they'll say anything they can for you to click on an ad. But then if it goes down the funnel to the sales call, then it's not at all what the expectations were of the person now on the call, right? The other thing is salespeople who, for example, are commission only, or have to perform, or they're fired when you're at that pressure point level, they will likely exaggerate what that company can do for someone to make a sale. So then you're in customer success or the operations side of things, and then you get higher churn than the average business, because they're like, this is not at all what I thought I was getting, and disconnect. So if they're not all connected, you have to in order to create the predictable, scalable revenue functions. It's just not negotiable. So in a consultation or a diagnostic phase, which usually takes me anywhere from 30 to 90 days, depending on how big the company is, these are all the things that are outlined in that phase so that you can actually now make these changes and start to scale with predictability.
Who are the individuals that you speak with during this consultative process? If, again, like, let's look at a larger company maybe and like the different people that you may have worked with as far as the leadership positions.
Yes.
Who do you specifically work with in the realm of the business to make sure that you're creating all these connections and not disconnections?
So I only work for the CEO or founder, period.
Okay,
so no one else is allowed to hire me.
That's good.
And the reason why is it's toned from the top, something I learned forever ago.
True.
So if somebody else in leadership brings me in, but I don't have 100% buy-in from the CEO founder, everything I do is not going to work.
Waste of time.
It's a waste of time. And then, so that has to be my sponsor within the company. If there is a board, I require me being in a board meeting, period. And then every single C-level executive, and if they are not large enough to have their whole C-suite built out yet, then I'll go down to like whatever that next layer is, SVP, VP. But I want to talk to everybody from product to sales to marketing.
Yeah.
And then actually one of my favorite things to do is to go and talk with somebody who basically makes minimum wage at the company or the lowest person. That always offers a lot of
secret
insight.
shopper.
The secret shopper.
The secret sales shopper.
The secret sales shopper. Yeah. So that's why it takes 30 to 90 days, because if I came in and I said in an hour, I'll tell you exactly what's wrong and I'll identify all your revenue leaks. Like there's some standard things I could pull out to do that. We could format a quiz or a questionnaire and it would tell you, but it really takes that period of time to put all of the pieces together. And then also when it comes to actually executing what I suggest, you cannot do it all at once.
True.
So
Time.
Yeah. So it's timing and how you're going to layer them. And, a lot of times when I come in and people see me come in, they're like, oh, great, people are getting fired and reorganized or something, right? Because I do a lot of change management, organizational shifting, and I've only had to fire a couple people. So it's actually not what usually happens, but you have to get the right people in the right seats. So sometimes there's organizational shifting, but once you shift to that scalable, rinse and repeat, predictable model, people who can't support that speed or skill level naturally leave anyway. And so, but my goal is always what's the max EBITDA we can get and how can we maintain the EBITDA percentage at scale? Not even maintain, I want it to be operationally efficient, which means that we can get more for what out of it, during that scale.
Let's talk about operational efficiencies and, some experiences that you've had. Let's do the pros and, kind of some of the good things that you're seeing, and then as well some of the bad things that people are doing.
Yes, I can't wait
because
to talk
I
about
know for a fact there's someone that's doing what you should not do. So
yes.
let's talk more about that.
All right. So, I will either be loved or hate for this next statement. So one or the other.
Ooh, controversy.
Yes. I do not believe AI is going to replace sales teams. And will it make them more efficient so they can sell more faster? 100%. But any founder right now that thinks that they can sell at an enterprise level or even mid-market, anything over $5,000 annual per year, you are going to want salespeople. You
True.
actually don't need as many as you used to have, but the quality of that salesperson is more important than ever for all of the emotional intelligence, the human piece of it, the adaptability, the relatability. People do not want to do big business deals with an AI bot.
No.
So they just don't. And so founders and CEOs that are abandoning sales teams altogether just because they think it's cool to, have AI, I think they're going to hugely regret it because there will be a boomerang effect, which I've honestly already seen happen. And if you think about your own buying patterns, both as a consumer or a business owner, like you don't want the AI handling everything. And even when it comes down to me booking my appointment with my dentist, which is now an AI person, which takes me 10 times longer to book my dentist appointment because they don't understand it. Like, it's frustrating and it's a friction point. So I figured out with my particular dentist that if you hang up and you just text message, the person at the front desk is actually scheduling your appointment.
Beautiful.
So I'm not calling anymore. And this is an example. Like, think about it. Great. So then you're spending, let's say they spend $2,000 a month on this AI appointment booker that now everyone's like, cancel.
Get me to somebody.
What could you do with $2,000 more per month that's actually going to help your business instead of make people go away? And some people I know, depending on the age, if that happens, they're never going back. So it's like, you have to be really paying. So I think the abuse of what AI is designed for to help you in your efficiencies is a huge mistake right now. There's certain things AI is great at. I'll give you an example just so that I can be specific and not vague so someone can maybe go do something. Is let's say you have a paid marketing funnel that sends somebody to a page and they're like, cool, book a call, like your book a call funnel that bajillion people run, right? And if you're anything like me, it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm excited to learn about this. And I go to book the call, then the calendar pops up, right? And all of a sudden my kid's yelling my name, or I have a business call, I got to record a podcast, and all these things happen before you can think about the next 30 days of when you're going to meet someone, right? This happens.
Just speak it how it is.
And it's cart abandon. And you're paying all this money for people to sit on your calendar, right? So if you rethink it, first of all, before the calendar pops up, you better have step one where you at least get the name and the email, right? Because most abandonment actually happens at the calendar stage. So now you have that information. So what I put in for actually a local business here in Utah was if they didn't book the call, in 30 seconds, they got an email from the AI sales assistant saying, hey, we noticed that you didn't complete booking your call for X, Y, and Z, or your meeting for this. Our next available time is X, Y, and Z. Does that work for you? If not, send me a couple of times and we'll get you booked with someone. And the AI is smart enough to match it with the rep that has the availability based on what they want. And honestly, depending on who you're selling to, and this particular client was like startup founders, they were selling to startup founders, and those people are looking for help at 11 p.m. at night. So what person on your sales team in the United States is answering calls at 11 p.m.? No one.
Yeah.
So you like give them what they want. And that's the appropriate use of AI because it solves a sales friction point in a very effective way. And we even disclose that like, hey, this is our AI sales assistant because we don't want you to wait till tomorrow. That's literally what the tagline and the signature was.
Yeah, I think it's better even from my perspective. Obviously we use AI in our systems as well as, you use it for yours. Yeah. And that's like your AI first. But yeah, just being able to create these efficiencies and leverage the tools that are now being provided for us. So walk with us through your perspective now on the AI first enablement that you spoke about a little bit earlier today.
Yep.
And how that's extremely important for companies to start shifting their mindset and thought process around that structure.
Yeah.
And then starting to build from there, but also being respectful to the people that are now coming to your pages, and wanting to book.
Yeah. So first of all, you should just say it's AI. First of all, okay? Yeah. People are smart. Like, I mean, oh my gosh, this is so funny. The other day, my husband pulls up his Instagram and he's like, Michelle, I found this really cool page that's all special effects for movies. And it shows you like their stage inside and all of this stuff. And it's super cool. And my daughter, who's just turned 10, sitting next to me, and we're like, oh, that's like, AI. Let's see. Right. And so he's like, how cool this is. And my daughter and I both look at each other like, Dad, that's AI. And he's like, no, it's not. And I was like, well, what's the handle? Let me follow him. And it was like, AI. And I was like, what is happening here? Right. So most people are just going to know. So you might as well disclose it. So that's the first thing, is just disclose it, because if you don't, and then people are confused, they're going to see your brand as untrustworthy.
Absolutely.
Okay? Number one. Number two is your salespeople should be doing the most high value work possible, and everything else should be done by AI. If your sales team is still doing manual meeting prep to be prepared, you are absolutely failing. Like, that is awful. That takes way too much time. There should be a brief produced, that notes are added into the CRM. Like, here's oh my God, everything.
We still love you, but you're failing.
But really, I'm just going to tell you, like, you are so
AI.
behind. So there's just all of these things like that you have to like, and the thing is that maybe it costs you $2,000 a month in AI support, but that keeps your salespeople selling and it reduces your headcount by 40%. That's a no-brainer, right?
So true.
So first, you have to do that. So you have to go through your business, which is part of like what I do, and identify specifically where you can plug in AI to support the sales team, right? Now, if you're hiring your first salesperson, it's even more important because that one salesperson has to do so much work, right? So how can you help that person do less of the admin work and do more of the selling? And then at scale, it also becomes really important because depending on what type of business you have, if you're distributed, like you have 20, 30 locations, something needs to be centralized in order to help the scalable function be at its operational efficiency and also the cost reduction of it. And this applies not to all these fancy SaaS companies too. Like I literally am helping a doggy daycare do this that has 10 locations.
I mean, as you know, we've had a lot of people that have come to our conferences as well as people that are doing roll-ups in the HVAC and the electrician space and all these areas that are ripe for the implementation of properly used AI, but also the understanding of how to leverage it, just like what you're saying.
Yes, because if I like this definition of scale versus growth, so I'm going to throw it out there. So growth is a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm making this up. Let's say it's $10 to get a customer and it's forever going to be $10 to acquire a customer, right? And that's it. It's a 1-to-1 ratio that if you're scaling, eventually that acquisition number should go down. That's scaling with efficiency, meaning, so if you aren't doing that, then you're just growing, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with growing. But if you're scaling, you have to have operational and financial efficiencies. And you actually can't achieve that without any of the things that I've been talking about.
Yeah, that's very wise. Yeah, growth versus scale.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't want to acquire a company for a customer for $10 forever.
Forever. You want to eventually.
I want to like 8, and then I want to get like 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then my margins go up.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been toying around with buying franchises for like a really long time, and not for me to be the operator, but for me to be
a passive investor.
Yeah, a passive investor, the brains behind it, the business, all of it. And the only way, like the people who make the big bucks in brick and mortar or franchise, it has to be multiple locations, but you have to scale your talent across multiple locations for you to hit the amount of profit or the EBITDA that you want. So for example, instead of having a general manager at every location, you stack them in a dense area and you have a traveling regional manager.
Yeah, I like that.
Like there's certain things like that. That's scaling, not growing.
Let's talk about, because this will all be in regards to enterprise value, but in scaling. But how do you empower others? I think it's important to understand the empowerment that must be needed within a training protocol for an individual that can have the magic of the founder.
Yes.
Because if the founder does it correctly, they can emit the energy and the focus in every aspect of what they've created onto somebody else. Yes. So how do we make this empowerment infectious?
Being a great leader is actually really fun. And that is I wish I could just lead with that, is I just want to create leaders, right? But no one's going to buy that, so you have to be specific, right? But it is one of my favorite things.
I want to be a leader.
I just feel like teach you to be a leader, and it's like, cool, that's not going to do anything. I'm a marketer too, right? So, but developing people is a great joy that most founders really love, but they get frustrated when they don't know how to do it. Right? And so the how becomes really complicated. So you have two options when you're a founder and you're going to hire your sales team or scale your sales team. You either hire an operator that has done it before that is not you, or you have a consultant in that comes and does what I do. I tell you exactly what to do. We build some assets together and you're off to the races. You can have me do the whole thing or not, but I have not to this day, unless that founder has a specific sales team building skill set, I have not seen anyone succeed in it without one of those three scenarios. So one is they've built sales teams, successful ones in the past. Okay, the founder has. And a lot of founders, especially co-founders, that's why co-founders are so popular. You usually have like the product person or the operation person, then you got the woohoo, I'm the sales guy, right?
Yeah, the woohoo guy.
And it works out great. So that works. That's option one. Option two is you hire an operator to come in to help you build your sales team. And to be really clear, that is not a salesperson. That is some type of revenue leader. If you try to hire an individual contributor to create into lead, that will fail you absolutely every single time. Or 3 is you hire a third party to come in to get you started so that you're building the right way and training the right way. So those are the options. Everything else doesn't work. And I have seen it for the last 10 years. So maybe
25,000 sales conversations.
Just saying.
And a lot of consultations with companies are doing good things and probably not so good things in other areas.
Yeah. And founders get really frustrated because it's expensive to build a sales team. It's a really expensive thing. So you want to do it as well as you can on the initial thing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but it's super important for us to also have a long-term strategy. And that's what we love to talk about on the podcast here is partnering with individuals that are actually growing valuable assets that can in the future exit for maximal value. That's everything. That's really what it comes down to. Because that's why we're in business.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just in business to make money on like a monthly basis.
No, because that's like...
We want a liquidation event here.
Yes, please. I want to liquidate, right? And not my home belongings, right? I want my business to sell and make a lot of money. The other thing with the training side of it is just imagine if you were going into your Series A, okay? And an investor came up and said, all right, well, is anyone else selling except for you? And you could be like, actually, yes, I just hired X, Y, and Z. Oh, great. How do they know what to do? Oh, no problem. You know what I'm going to add to the data room for you is my sales folder.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where it shows step-by-step how we onboard, train, and the metrics we track, the success. Do you have any other questions? And all of a sudden, you're worth a lot more than your competitor. So it is amazing. And
I would say to that point though, it's the same for an individual who is in a roll-up or a private equity firm that's looking for an acquisition. It's the same. It's an investor who is investing capital, time, emotion in you and the opportunity. It's the same.
Yeah.
Same.
It's the same. And then it comes to, I think right now, something that is like top of mind right now is a lot of the people who are getting hired for entry-level sales positions are the Gen Z culture and Gen Z generation. And they have a different culture of work. So they don't work the same way that everybody else does. And one of the most distinctive differences that I have seen happen over and over again is they are loyal to their leader, not loyal to the company, which is incredibly different if you think about like the past generations, right?
True.
So,
yeah, the older people, they're the 70-year-olds right now. They stayed with the company for 30, 40 years.
Yeah, because they're invested in it. And this generation does not care. So what does that mean for our leaders and for our companies is treat your leaders well so they don't leave because people are going to go with them. And 2 is train your leaders to be good leaders, not just people who produce emails and data and say like, hey, how's the pipeline, right? So how
good.
Can
just
you
numbers
do that?
Driven?
Yeah, and like the big thing with Gen Zers is they're not going to wait for a quarterly performance review or a year. They will quit. You have to give them micro feedback like very consistently. And that doesn't need to be a big thing. It could be, for example, like, hey, I loved how you handled that objection. You did these 3 things super well. Here's one area for improvement. Done.
High five. Go to work.
That's it.
Let's make it happen.
That's how they learn and that's how they create loyalty to you. And sometimes you have like intuition. Like I have a lot of intuition with this kind of stuff. So when I was training a bunch of Gen Zers probably about 18 months ago for a client, and I ended up leaving because I'm done. Like I'm a consultant and I'm not there forever, right? And I left and people were devastated. So I guess they thought I was going to stay forever. And so I actually had to like stay for a little bit longer to make sure that the placed leaders, like everyone was going to be okay. But the text messages that I got after I left were like, you changed my life. Like, I can't believe I'm capable of this. Thank you for going to bat for me. Like all of these things, because half of my job when I'm with a company is to manage up as much as I manage down. So the CEO and the founder, that's a very intimate, close relationship that I have with every single one of my clients. And I say things that no one else will say to him or her. And it's really, really important. And it can actually be really exciting. And most CEOs and founders, they actually love if somebody's like, actually, you're wrong. And here's why. So
yeah, that's valuable.
It's extremely valuable.
I would say though, and just to wrap up, I would say it's really important for us to understand that there are different dynamics that are always flowing within companies.
Yes.
And then in essence, knowing knowing the employees that you're bringing on, and then empowering them to do what they're doing, and then being a better leader.
Yes.
So I think that's an entire process, because at the end of the day, we're creating enterprise value, and that's what we're doing. So I'm excited to shoot this podcast with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
This was so fun. Thank you for having me.
Well, I feel like there's like a season 2 coming, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you again. AHQCon is coming up soon. It's going to be on October 19th through 21 in Salt Lake City, 2026. We have lots of people just like Michelle. She'll be there. We've got various sponsors that'll help you, as well as partners. And, again, like I said at the very beginning of the podcast, we got investors that are looking to deploy capital. We have individuals that are wanting to sell companies. We have individuals that are buying companies. We have this entire deal ecosystem that's been created, as well as our AHQ ecosystem. So thank you for watching the podcast. If you guys like today's episode and want to learn more about sales, where can they head?
Sure. So head over to michelleterpstra.com, or you can listen to my podcast, which is Revenue Rascals.
I love it. But yeah, if you guys like today's episode, feel free to like, subscribe, and also comment below. And then also, again, like I said, share this with other people that are within business that may need a little bit of support with their sales. And we can't wait to make more of these for you guys.